Can we truly blame people for their actions, or were they shaped that way? This question has haunted humanity for centuries. When we try to explain crime, we ask, are some individuals just born bad seeds? Or did their upbringing fail them? In history, we wonder, were figures like Hitler or Stalin born monsters? Or did society and circumstance mold them into what they became? And in shaping our society, we face a choice. Should we focus on punishment or on understanding and rehabilitation? This isn't just philosophy, it's psychology, law, ethics, and human nature all wrapped into one. Psychologists point to childhood trauma, abuse, neglect, things that can distort empathy, moral growth, and the ability to connect. And studies like the Stanford prison experiment or Milgram's obedience tests show us something unsettling. Ordinary people placed under pressure or authority can commit acts they'd never imagine. It suggests that evil isn't necessarily innate. It's taught, encouraged, or adapted to survive. Neuroscience adds another layer. Some believe we're born with tendencies that lean toward harmful behavior. Genetic predispositions, traits like impulsivity or lack of empathy, can be inherited. And research into psychopathy reveals differences in brain structure, areas involved with emotion and moral reasoning that may be wired differently from birth. From a philosophical perspective, we think that socialization has a significant impact. Peers, culture, and family teach people what is right or wrong. If someone grows up in a violent or unjust environment, that shapes their worldview. In a philosophical context, think of Thomas Hobbes, who believed humans are naturally selfish and need society to keep them in check. Many others have expressed similar views. We will address those later. But yes, most modern scholars agree it's not merely one or the other. A person might be born with certain traits. Example, low empathy, but whether those traits develop into evil actions is largely dependent on upbringing, culture, and life experiences. Epigenetics even indicates that trauma or stress in a parent's life can affect a child's gene expression, a literal blend of nature and nurture. So, what is the answer to the question? Are people born evil or are they made evil? To answer this question first, we need to have a basic understanding of evil. You know, sometimes you have to ask questions like, but what is evil anyway? Before deciding how someone becomes evil, you have to define what evil means. Evil is generally divided into three main categories. First, moral evil, intentional harm, cruelty, and malice. Example, a person stealing money or bullying someone is moral evil. Second, systemic evil, harm caused by the way society is structured, like slavery or genocide, even when the people involved don't see their actions as wrong, because those actions are accepted or normalized by the system around them. For example, during slavery, many people believed it was normal and legal to own other human beings, without questioning the deep injustice and suffering it caused. Third, cultural relativism, what's seen as wrong in one culture might be normal or even good in another. For example, loving someone of the same gender isn't a moral evil, but in some societies, it's treated as if it were, sometimes punished harshly, even with death. This shows how cultural norms can define evil in ways that don't always line up with actual harm. Evil might signify something different to you compared to others. For some, certain actions might be more acceptable than others, regardless of their moral or social implications. Now we have a basic understanding of the concept of evil, or we can formulate one considering these categories. It is time to answer a question. A child is born, eyes wide, hands reaching, mind empty. She doesn't know how to lie, she doesn't know how to hate, she doesn't even know what wrong means. Now fast forward 25 years. That same child is behind bars charged with something horrifying, and everyone asking, what went wrong? Was she born broken? Or did the world break her? Comment below with your thoughts now and compare them with what you believe after watching the entire video. This is one of the oldest, most haunting questions we've ever asked. Are people born evil or are they made that way? Philosophers have debated this topic. Psychologists have tested various theories. Religions have attempted to provide answers. And all of us, at some point, have looked at the news or into another person's eyes and wondered, could I ever do something like that? Could anyone? To explore this, we must look deep, not just into science or philosophy, but into the narratives we tell, the systems we inhabit, and the shadows we carry within ourselves. Remember, this isn't merely a philosophical question for academic textbooks or late-night debates. How we respond to this question influences how we treat people, how we raise children, how we build justice systems, and how we prevent future harm. What have some historical greats expressed about this? For instance, Jean-Jacques Rousseau's core idea was, humans are naturally good. Rousseau believed in the concept of the noble savage, that in the state of nature, humans were peaceful, free, and morally pure. He wrote, "Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains." The Social Contract, 1762, in his view, evil is not an inherent part of human nature. It's a result of society, inequality, and artificial institutions. The start of the corruption of society. Rousseau argued that private property and social hierarchies led to envy, competition, and moral decay. The first man who, having enclosed a piece of ground, bethought himself of saying, "This is mine," and found people simple enough to believe him, was the real founder of civil society. According to Rousseau, that moment marked the beginning of inequality and evil. Unlike Hobbes, John Locke believed that people in the natural state are neither inherently evil nor engaged in constant conflict. Instead, he thought humans possess the faculty of reason, of innate law, the ability to honor the rights of others. For Locke, wrongdoing or evil happens when a person violates someone else's natural rights such as life, liberty, and property. Such actions are considered unjust and deserving of punishment. He does not characterize evil as a metaphysical force. Rather, evil equates to injustice and a disregard for natural law, which resonates with many in contemporary society. Now, let's delve into one of our favorite philosophers, Friedrich Nietzsche. Unlike others, Nietzsche didn't believe in the idea of absolute or objective morality. For him, evil is a construct of humanity, born out of weakness, resentment, and social control, not derived from nature, reason, or divine command. He argued that morality is not universal or unchanging. What is often labeled evil typically reflects what the disenfranchised resent about the powerful. He expressed this idea in his work, Beyond Good and Evil. There are no moral phenomena at all, only moral interpretations of phenomena. Thus, evil is not something out there in the world. It serves as a label we employ, frequently as a tool to shame or exert control over others. Nietzsche famously proclaimed, "God is dead." What he implied was that traditional moral frameworks, particularly those rooted in religion, no longer hold sway in modern society. Yet, individuals persist in clinging to these frameworks, utilizing concepts like good and evil without any foundational basis. This collapse opens the door to nihilism, but Nietzsche's response to the decline of ancient morality lies in the concept of the Übermensch, an individual who forges their own values that transcend conventional ideas of good and evil. There may not be one right answer to what evil is, but understanding many answers makes us wiser in how we deal with it. Now, one of the rising questions around this complex topic is, can we program evil? As we build AI systems that can actually make decisions, we start to grapple with some big, uncomfortable questions. Can a machine truly learn to be evil? What happens if it learns from us, drawing lessons from human history? And perhaps more urgently, when technology is used to bully, manipulate, or exploit others, we must ask ourselves, is the internet bringing out our dark side? Or is it simply revealing what was always hidden within us? On the internet, it's easy to hide. People hide behind fake names, blank profile pictures, and burner accounts. Suddenly, no one knows who they truly are. There are no immediate consequences, no one confronting you face to face, no one holding you accountable in the moment. In the absence of those real-world repercussions, individuals begin to express things they'd never say in person. Cruel, personal insults, racist or hateful slurs, even death threats or dehumanizing language. Why? Because anonymity doesn't make people evil, but it takes away the fear of being punished for it. That fear is what keeps a lot of darkness in check. And when it's gone, what's left starts to show. Online, it's easy to forget there's a real person on the other side. We don't see faces, we don't hear voices, we don't feel pain. The other person becomes just a username, a profile picture, a vague idea. And once someone stops feeling fully human to us, it becomes easier to mock their trauma, celebrate their failures, even encourage harm. The same mental tricks that make it possible to commit atrocities in war, by seeing the enemy as less than human, play out online every single day. Worse still, toxic behavior doesn't just slip by unnoticed, it actually gets rewarded. Social media algorithms are built to amplify outrage. Cruel, divisive, or angry content gets more likes, more shares, more comments. In that kind of system, empathy gets ignored, nuance gets buried, and outrage goes viral. That's what people mean when they talk about rage-bait content designed to make you mad, keep you scrolling, and pull you deeper. Some people look at all this and say, see, humans are just bad underneath. The internet shows who we really are. No masks, no filters, just raw instinct unleashed. But others see it differently. They say this is what happens when the environment shapes the behavior. Put someone in a place with no rules, no consequences, no empathy, then add constant pressure to perform, and watch how fast their morals start to fade. In a way, the internet has become one giant social experiment. What happens when you give billions of people total freedom, zero accountability, and a system that rewards the worst parts of us? We're finding out. And what we're learning isn't pretty, but it is incredibly revealing. I'm not trying to prove people are born evil. That's not the point. What I care about is the stuff we avoid, the uncomfortable truths, the uncomfortable things, the social taboos, topics that get ignored, judged, or shut down the moment they're brought up. Not because they don't matter, but because they make people uncomfortable. That's why I bring them up. Not to shock, not to shame, but to start the conversations we actually need to have. Because we can't change what we're too afraid to face. Subscribe and become an underground soldier.